folks, and welcome to Subjective Thoughts. And our manga for today is Parasyte Volume 2 by Hitoshi Iwaki. Now, there is violence, killing, murder, fighting, blood, aliens, and decapitation in this one. So, if you are in any way squeamish, you have been warned. Also, spoilers. Alright, here is the translator and who did the lettering. And this was published by Kodansha Comics. So, I have finally read volume 2 of Parasyte. I read volume number 1 over a year ago, and probably a little bit more than that already. And I've had the volume 2, I just, for some reason, didn't get to it. And man, it's a shame I didn't. I forgot how much I enjoyed the story, because I really loved the first volume. It was just, so gripping, and this one was the same. I was so in the story. So I'm not gonna summarize what happened in the first one. You can go see that video. But I'll tell you that, okay, so when we left off our hero Shinichi and the alien that's inside his hand, Migi. Yeah, Migi? Yeah, Migi. This one. His mom and dad went on vacation because Migi said, yeah, statistically they might be safe. They might not get harmed anyway. And so Shinichi was left alone until while his parents vacationed. So we start off this one with Shinichi's living alone for now, going to school. Um, just him and Migi. And then one of the mornings when he starts to go to school. Now, also in the end of the first volume, one of the parasites took over the body of a teacher, and she left. She decided not to kill him because she felt something different about him, besides the fact that the parasite didn't manage to, or Migi didn't manage to take over his brain. So he's wondering about that. And as he goes to school, he sees a backpack of one, a dirty backpack, and then he somehow recognizes it and goes. There's like a little yard and it's full of looks like shipping containers or maybe like storage places. But anyway, one of the kids in the school, a teenager, is getting beaten up by teenagers from another high school. So at first he sees and he's told by them there's three guys and one girl from the other high school. And he's like, what's going on? They tell him, get out of here. And he starts to leave and he thinks leave it, but remembers how he told Migi that, or how Migi told him there's a difference between humans and the parasites, and how Migi doesn't understand them. How they actually try to help each other instead of just running away. So Shinichi turns back and tries to help the guy, and he gets beaten up for it too. But before they continue beating him up, the girl gets up and says, "Leave him alone." He's just, she tells him, "You're a coward and you're a pussy." But then she looks in Shinichi's eyes and she gets scared. Cause later on, Migi tells him she seems to have this ability to sense things. Unlike Shinichi's friend, that other girl from, oh, sorry, that was Doyle, from Volume 1, she has a much stronger ability. So she looks in his eyes and she feels like he's not completely human. She gets a little bit scared. Well, anyway, they leave. The other teenager from his high school tells him he's an idiot. And then they go to school. And then there's a teenage girl, the other teenager the girl that he knows asks him, what happened. Well, so that goes on. And also, Miki complains that he's not eating healthy, and that he misses his mom's cooking. And he needs to eat more vegetables. And he's also late for school because he's sleeping more. Now, while some of this is happening, we go to not far from where his parents are vacationing. And Parasyte is taking over the body of a woman and is about to eat. Also, there's a funny fight between Migi and Shinichi. That fight is like, you need to eat balance, but then Shinichi's like, you eat other humans. Where's the balanced diet there? It's kind of funny. Yeah. So this other Parasyte, he or she, he. Well, let's go with she because it's the women. A woman. Well, she takes over the body. It's not a very smart parasite because as the man drives her, she asks him for a lift. He likes the woman the parasite inhabits and wants to have sex with her. So then she takes hold of the seat belt and asks, "What is this for?" And the man thinks he's joking, like, "Ah, what? You've never? Come on, this is your first time in a car." And then they swerve and hit into a tree. And because the parasite wasn't buckled like it should have been, the body that he took is dying. And he's inside the head, so with the head he pushes her back, and then like, oh, that's what the seatbelt's for. So then he's like, shit, I'm dying, I gotta do something. So he takes the body of the man, he decapitates his head, and takes over, and then he gets out and starts to walk on the road. A man picks him up and he tells him, "Oh, just take me to the nearest town." But then as he sits in the car, he pisses himself. The man tells him to get out of his truck. Yeah, it's a truck. And he goes and he's like, the wiring's all different. This is a man's body. I need to find a woman's body. This doesn't fit, and then he collapses the parasite because he does in fact need a female body now. He can't use a man's body, so he has to find a woman's body. But again, he collapses. And we go back to Shinichi. His mom calls him from their hotel room, asks him how he's doing. He's really sleepy. He's barely he's yawning on the whole conversation. She's telling him, take care of yourself. Don't be late for school. I think it's maybe morning when she calls him. Oh, sirens. So I said okay. And then she hangs up and she tells the dad, he doesn't misses us at all. It seems. And his dad says to the mom, "Oh, it's a good thing. He's already in junior high. He's becoming an adult." So that's it. They got one more day. They're supposed to come home the next day. So then they go out, and then they go out for a walk. Before they start packing and leaving. And they're on this cliff in that town. It's Sakura something the town's called. But anyway, as they're walking, there's such a beautiful view. Now, unfortunately, the parasite is also there. He's coming looking. He spots Shinichi's mom. Uh-oh. Spots his mom, and he and he goes towards her, towards her body. They're standing there, and she says, "So beautiful here. We need to bring Shinichi here sometimes." And the dad laughs like, "Oh, everything reminds you of him." And then he turns toward her and yells, because right behind her is the parasite with his appendages out like the swords. And then we move on to Shinichi. I think, yeah, before all of this happens, I think Shinichi gets beaten up. Yeah, he gets again in a fight with those other three high school boys. Um, they grab his friend. I forgot her name, but she and Shinichi are walking home, and they grab her, and they're like, okay, because one of the leader of those other teenagers, he wants to prove because the girl that was with them, he's dating her, and he wants to prove to her that Shinichi is a coward. And he's like, okay, get out of here. We have business with this girl. Of course, Shinichi doesn't leave. He stands there and tries to help her, and he gets beaten up quite badly by the guy. But then the guy that he tried to help that day, he comes with the rest with more boys from their high school, and they rescue Shinichi and her. And he tells them, okay, you two leave. Thank you, Shinichi, for that day. So, and the other girl is also there too. But she sees what's going to happen and she just runs away. Well, honestly, best decision. What's she gonna do? And the boys aren't gonna chase her, so the Shinichi and the girl go home. Girl from his high school go home, and the other three are being beaten up. They go to his house. She, helps him. The med kit patches him up a bit. They spend some time together, and then she's like, "It's 5:30. As you want to spend the night?" She said, "I'm going home." Oh, I think it. No, he knows her name, right? I don't remember if in the first manga he knows her. I think he does. I just forgot her name. But as she tells him, "Yeah, I'm going home," and then while he's laying in bed, Miki's like, "Ah, damn! I was hoping to witness mating." That was a funny bit. Then we get to the mom. Back to then the whole thing with the mom, and as you can probably figured, she gets killed by a parasite. Yeah, then after that, it's like Shinichi's in school. Then he gets when comes home, he gets a phone call, and it's from. And along the way, I think he also meets that girl again. She apologizes for the guy, tells him friends, and he's like, yeah, yeah. And then she shakes his hand, and that's when she feels the parasite. And then Miki warns him to not get too close to her. And then he gets that phone call. His dad, the dad's been attacked, but managed to escape the parasite. And he called from a payphone, telling Shinichi, mom, she's been killed by a monster. And is like, Dad, what do you? And then, but then the phone gets disconnected because his dad needs more change. And then he gets out of the phone booth, and a car almost hits him. And yeah, car almost hits him. Three people come out of it. They're like, "Oh shit, we got to get him to a hospital." And I said, "We got to call an ambulance." And the woman with them said, "No, wouldn't it be faster if we drove him?" And the driver, I think, says, "No, I don't know where the nearest hospital is." Back home, Shinichi's freaking out, like, oh no, what's going on? And then, no, not what's going on. He knows it's like a monster. It's like, it must be a parasite. He's just sitting at the kitchen table. And then Migi comes out and said, Shinichi, there's a parasite coming towards us because they can sense each other. Like, you got to get ready, and Shinichi, starts to get angry at him. It's all your fault. The fault of you parasites. If I only have told mom everything that day when she asked me. If I told her the truth, it's only I've cut you off when I should have. Then Migi again, Shinichi, you need to get ready. The parasite's getting closer. So Shinichi takes out a kitchen knife and goes to the hallway, expecting the parasite to break in, but then there's the sound of a key. The door's opened, and Shinichi's like, he has a key? And he's standing and looking, and then he sees his mom. So she's like, "Mom, it's you," and then she says, "Oh, the other man hasn't come back here." Then the parasite's talking about Shinichi's dad. He thought that the dad's gonna return home. He wanted to kill him, and Shinichi is standing there. Shinichi is in shock. Is in a state of shock basically, because even though I think he understands that this is not his mom anymore, and the way she's talking, because she then says, "Why are you inside the hand?" The parasite calls Migi a failure for not taking over the head as he should have. And then Shinichi, again, state of shock, he starts saying, "Oh, mom, I'm gonna tell you everything." And then Miki's like, "No, no, no, Shinichi, that's not your mom anymore." And he gets angry at him and he threatens he'll cut off the arm. He's holding the kitchen knife and scratches himself. And then the other parasite says, "Well, you obviously failed. I will kill you." And he uses his knives and like penetrates Shinichi's heart. And then that's it. The Shinichi falls. The parasite and his mom says, "Well, that's it. You will die here. I have to go back and finish the job, kill his dad." And then Shinichi is lying there. Migi he gets up in his arms like, "Oh, I have to be quick. I have to do something. There's no time." Oh, he's not gonna find a body most likely quickly, but he and Shinichi are already intertwined together. So Migi has to figure out what to do. He's gotta patch things up, and there's no time to wait for things to heal. So he disconnects himself from Shinichi's body and goes into his in his back, goes back into the chest, and he heals his heart and everything. He uses his alien biology to heal Shinichi to close up the hole in his chest. Because he can't just repair the heart, and he has no time for the hole to close, so he has to do it himself. After he does that, he returns to Shinichi's arm through the bloodstream and manages. And then for like several, I think 2, 3 days, Shinichi's still lying there. He also puked out blood. And Migi's taking care of him by going to the faucet, getting water and sugar to keep him sustained at least. And in school, he's not there, and his friends worried about him. And after 3 days, I think Shinichi wakes up, or after two, and he gets up, unsticks his face from the floor, gets up, and goes into the bathroom. He tries to drink some water, but then vomits it out. And then he takes off his shirt and he sees that he was patched up, and he's like, "Did Migi do this?" And then Shinichi's looking, and he realizes that it wasn't a dream. His mom was indeed killed by a parasite. And he sits down in the bathroom and cries, and no, not cries, and he sits devastated in the bathroom. And then the phone starts to call, it starts to ring, sorry. And he finally goes to answer, and it's from the hospital his father is in. They call him and said, "I've been trying to get you. Your father is here." And he's like, "Oh, where are you? Where's your hospital?" She tells him his father's going to need change of clothes. And back at the when they were sitting at the kitchen table after, he's arguing with Migi and says, "Oh, you said that they would be safe, they would be all right. You promised." And Migi said, "I didn't. I just said that statistically, they're less likely to be attacked at home." And less likely to be attacked out there because no one would sense the parasite that's in Shinichi. Anyway, back to this. And then Shinichi remembers that the parasite said that he is going to go finish the job. kill his father. So he quickly packs up what he needs, clothes for his father, money, changes a shirt, and probably takes clothes for himself and leaves his house. He opens the door. I have to get to my dad. And then as he opens the door, his friend is there. She's standing like, Shinichi, you haven't come to school. I said I have to go. I'll be gone for a little while. And then he starts to go. You can see he's not himself anymore. And she tells him, and she tells him, she calls him by his surname, and then she says, Shinichi-kun, will come back safe. And he keeps going. He goes to I think a station for buses, asks, what's the fastest way to get there? And he's told, go to this harbor, take this boat, it'll be the fastest way. So he buys a ticket, goes, gets on the boat. There's a teenage girl there. She's she's standing in line, looking behind the two men, and he's like, "Oh shit, they're here." They all get on the boat. It's just her, Shinichi, and there's two men, and one of them gets up, and she asks Shinichi if she can, sit next to him. Shinichi is, sitting wondering about all this and, what happened to his mom. And then the one of the men approaches her, the younger one, and asks, "Are you a student from our school?" And she says, "No." And then she hands Shinichi a package she has, and she says, "Can you please hide this in your bag, please, or they'll take it from me." Shinichi does. Then the older man approaches, and he recognizes her. And he's a teacher. He's like the disciplinary in their school, in her high school. And she said, "What are you doing here? Give me your bag for inspection." And she missed school and instead went shopping. So and in a way, so her parents wouldn't know because she changed from her uniform to regular clothes. Um, and then he argues with her. "What are you doing here? You need to be in school." And she's like, "You're not there either." And he says, I'm working." Gets really angry. And he said, "You need to be in school, not go out on a date," because he's looking at Shinichi. And then he slaps the girl too. And then Shinichi says, "What does it matter? Why do why are you making such a fuss about this?" And then he goes to grab Shinichi's backpack and says, "I'm gonna check your bag too," even though he doesn't have the right to do that. I think he grabs it, and Shinichi it takes him a second to realize. Then, like in speed of lightning, he gets up, he grabs the man's hands, like, let go of my bag. And the disciplinary teacher looks at him like terrified. Then they all get off the boat. Um, they're all going. And I think the younger teacher tells him, "What happened to you back then? You used to handle students way tougher looking than this one." And then he says, "You should have seen his eyes. I thought he was going to kill me. I was afraid he was going to kill me." And then the young girl, I think she's a little younger than Shinichi, maybe by a year or two. And then she tells him, "That was really cool. No one can really stand up to him." And I think before that, he asked her if maybe she knows where the hospital is while they were on the boat. Because he asked her if she was from that place. She said, "Yeah, I'll show you." He starts, and then when they're off, he starts to go. She said, "Wait, the hospital." She leads him there, and then she leaves. Shinichi in the hospital while his dad, he gotta probably suffered a concussion, maybe. The police are there to speak to him. They're saying, we couldn't find your wife. Maybe you dreamed of this whole, your mind made things look a certain way to you. Because we searched, your wife is nowhere, and we went to the hotel you were staying. And the hotel manager said, yeah, he saw you to go out for a walk, but then your wife returned and said that you left earlier for home and that she's going to stay one more day. The police suspect that Shinichi's mom, Nabuko, I think that's how you call her. I say that she, because the dad has the life insurance policy, and maybe, she pushed him off the cliff. Oh yeah, that's right. She did the parasite was pushed off because of the fight. That's how he survived. That she did that to get the insurance policy money, and his dad can't believe it, and he said no, and tells him to leave. At that moment, Shinichi's in the hospital. He hears his dad's voice. He goes into the room and he's like, "Dad," like Shinichi, and Dad is like, "Dad, Mom," and he feels a strong pain in his chest, and he sits down and he's trying to cry, but no tears are coming. And he's like, "Dad, what you said on the phone," and he's like, "Shinichi, you shouldn't have come." And his dad said, "No, Shinichi, it was just." Yeah, your mom is still alive, it was just all in my head from what happened. And Shinichi, was looking at him like, it, anyway, Shinichi gives him the clothes. And, he said, "I'm going to stay here, Dad." And his dad said, "You should head home. I'm going to still be here for a week." Shinichi goes outside the hospital and he wants to find a place to stay that'll be close enough so he can protect his dad. And since Migi can only sense a parasite from 300 meters, he has to find somewhere close to the hospital. And the nearest hotel is too far away. So he goes to several places. Two reject him, one just doesn't have any room. And then he finds a place that's like right, I think, behind the hospital. And he goes in and like, "Oh, hello, can I rent a room?" And the woman thinks that he's a runaway. He says, "I know, my dad's staying in the hospital here." And then he meets that girl again. This is their family lives there. So thanks to her, he gets a room. So he stays there. Migi wakes him up a few times. Tells him about what happened, what he had to do to heal him, and all of that. So Shinichi stakes out the hospital so he can make sure that everything's all right with his dad. Uh, the girl's family, they're wondering why he's there because he hears the mom goes out and hears sees some of the women of the town talking, and the grandpa's like, "Oh, he's a young gun from a yakuza, and that's his boss in there." It was so funny having him say that. Anyway, finally after I think 2 days, Shinichi feels another, or Migi feels another parasite. Migi tells him where. Shinichi starts following. And he's like, "Where's the harbor or the sea?" He asks the girl. She tells him, and then he starts running. But he's not running regularly. He's running like an Olympian athlete, like super fast. And the girl, before she can tell him, "Wait, you can't go that way, that's a dead end." He runs there, he reaches the dead end. Migi says the parasite is here. The girl catches up to him. She said, "Wait, this is a dead end, see?" And then he just jumps off of this like really tall metal fence. And then she's like, "What?" Then he goes, and he detects where the parasite is, goes and comes across a man. But the man looks normal, and he's like, "Oh, wrong person." But then it turns out that it's not. And what this man is, he's kind of, not kind of, he's like Shinichi. The parasite it took over not his head, but his jaw. His jaw, his neck, and a part of his chest. It's like, what? Well, anyway, they go to talk at the hospital, so Shinichi will be close. And the man tells him, I was, my wife left me after a year of marriage because I was a pushover. And I went to this cliff, but I was too cowardly to kill myself. So I just sat there and remembered the good times. And then one of those eggs, fluffy eggs that fell that had the parasites in it, the parasite came out and was going towards the man, Oda, his name is, and going towards him and then jump at him and was starting to get inside. But the man panicked, tried to get the parasite off, and then fell backwards off the cliff and went down to the sea there and was starting to drown. And the parasite realized, oh shit, I gotta do something. We'll both die. And then he just, because he had control of the lower jaw and the neck, and he just pulled that part out and was giving the man air. And so that's how that happened. So they introduce themselves to each other. And the man is the one that came up with the name for them, like the title, Parasyte. So then Shinichi tells his story as well, said that I'm calling him Migi. The man just calls his Parasyte Parasyte. Is good enough for him. Tells him, oh, how your parasite's very polite. He said, probably because he reads all the time. He said, my parasite speaks from, I learned to speak from TV. They say, yeah, the man watches movies all the time and cries all the time. I don't get him. Yeah, this man does cry quite a lot. And then Shinichi also tells him about what happened with his mother. And he also cries. He said, please, when the parasite gets here, I work in a hotel in the next town. Call me. I'll come to help you. You'll need my help. So they agree on that, and then Jinichi's wondering if he has changed so much, because Oda's crying, but he's not. Then at night, Shinichi wakes him up and he wants to talk to him. He wanted to mention this to him before, but got interested in the conversation with Oda and his parasite. So because of what not Shinichi, because of what Migi did in order to save Shinichi's life, going inside of him, because he says, look, I can split myself into parts, into copies, and while I split to two, we can both talk to you and communicate at the same time. But if I keep splitting, these copies are less and less good, not intelligent, not able to do things. They're I have to command them. Then you need demonstrate this. It's kind of like a babushka. And then he said, like, command, like, bind together again. And so what happened was, while he was in his heart fixing it, and because he had to return through the bloodstream because he couldn't get out of the hole again, because he sealed it, a few parts of him went into because the new heart that he made for Shinichi was much stronger. Little small parts of Migi was sucked into the bloodstream. Because Migi, when he turns shapes the hand into himself, is just 70% of him. So now some percents are combined with Shinichi's bloodstream. So Shinichi is no longer fully human. And now has more abilities that he never had before. But Migi also lost some of his abilities now because of that. And Shinichi's pondering, maybe this changed something in my brain. And Migi's like, no, probably not. The changes wouldn't be so significant, and the parts are too small to affect you in any way. In your brain, that is. So then Shinichi keeps staking out the hospital. The girl comes to talk to him as well sometimes, because he asks her, do I look, do I look like a regular human? And she said, yeah, of course you do. And then she tells him, and she asks him, what has happened? Because when we're on the boat together, you looked so devastated, so sullen. And then she said, "Oh, never mind. I'm sorry I asked." And she runs off. And then Shinichi comes back to I guess inn is that he's staying in, and he has a phone call from Uda, and tells him, "My parasite felt a parasite coming. I think it might be that one." And Shinichi's like, "Okay, you've never faced one. Don't get too close. Wait for me." Oh, he hangs up and he starts going to where the parasite is. But then also now Migi's gonna have to sleep a few hours a day, like 4 hours a day, because he no longer has the energy that he used to. Because of that, sorry, that was my grandma. And so yeah, now he's gonna. And at this moment, naturally, he has to sleep. And he's like, Migi, you gotta be joking. I need you right now. And so he said, the best I can do is he transforms himself into a sword, into like this, like a big sword. So that's all he can do. So Shinichi, that's all he can do really. Meanwhile, Oda with his parasite is looking. The parasite's following because he calls from a phone booth, and he keeps going towards the cliff. And then his parasite tells him, go to the side there. Maybe then we can trap him or something. You need to be careful. And Migi also told him before, make sure you protect us first. So the parasite reaches Uda, and he says, "Funny that I should meet two failures in a row," because he sees that the parasite hasn't managed to take over the head, and they start fighting. And and the parasite that's in Shinichi's mom says, "Well, I will kill you as well, as you're also a failure." They fight, and this parasite realizes the like the pattern of attack. So and he doesn't manage to block it again, and the parasite and Shinichi's mom like cuts him through the heart. And but because of where this parasite is, he manages to open a hole in the chest, so the attack avoids the heart and the vital organs. And then Uda gets knocked back, and then the Uda's parasite hears the other one talking about his strategy, and then he says, I knew it." Then Shinichi's looking, is like where they are, and he hears like the clanging of the sword. Clanging of the sword, he hears it, and then he goes and he goes towards it. Then Shinichi finally approaches, and then again he sees his mom, and again he's a bit stomped for a moment, and the other parasite can't believe he's like, "You, but I killed you. How did you survive?" Well, anyway, he opens up his head. It opens again because I'll show you later. They all open their heads like that when they fight. And then Shinichi's like, That's better. A monster should have a monster's face. You gotta make it easier for him to fight him since he's not wearing his mom's face anymore." So they start fighting, and the parasite is absolutely shocked that Shinichi manages to keep up with him. He manages to block his attacks and every time. And now Shinichi can see those attacks. He's not And he's not like he used to when he was attacked by Parasite A in the first volume. He couldn't see, because Migi did everything. He didn't do so now he's able to do it himself. So he's shocked by it, and the Parasite is shocked. I mean, so Shinichi keeps fighting him. Actually, manages to hurt him a bit, and hits him in the chest. On the side, I should say. Hits him on the side in the chest. And one moment, please. Oh, sorry. Yeah, he hits him, and that's it. He's like, that's it. I gotta finish this. I got to kill him. Avenge my mom. And then Shinichi is about to get the sword down, but then the Parasite, puts his which hand was that? The right hand in front of its face, and Shinichi sees the burn on his mother's arm. When Shinichi was a child, I think he was, I don't know, maybe trying to cook noodles or something, and a hot pot was about to fall on him, but his mom protected him, and she got that burn on her hand from that. And he's like, "Mom, I never got to say I'm sorry for doing that, and sorry that happened, giving you that burn." And yeah, and he's just there, and he hesitates. Shinichi hesitates, and then the parasite's about to attack him, to kill him. But before he can, Uda's parasite attacks him himself. Decapitates the head, and then cuts the parasite a few times. Shinichi's mom's body falls backwards into the sea. A parasite's there, and he's like, "How? How did you survive as well?" And Uda's parasite says, "I realized your attack pattern. I protected the chest, and that is it." A parasite dies. Then Uda gets up from the cliff, and he says, "Shinichi, are you all right?" And then Uda tells him, "Shinichi, I thought that you shouldn't be the one to kill the parasite that took over your mom's body. And I know you wanted to, but I didn't think you should be the one to do that." Basically, Oda wanted to spare him that. Because even though Shinichi wanted to avenge his mom, having to kill her body would have been really, a harsh thing to do. To have to live with that. So Oda is a very good man. Maybe sap and everything, but he's a good man for doing that for Shinichi. So that's it. It is finally over. Finally, it is done. The parasite has been killed. Now Shinichi has lost his mom. Yeah, that was so sad. Sorry, that was really sad. Then Shinichi, so that's it. He says goodbye to Oda. And then Shinichi, he goes to back to the inn, says goodbye, thank you for everything. He's gonna go pick up his dad from the hospital, and they're gonna return home. And then Shinichi, the girl, says, "I'll walk you." And she asks Shinichi, "No, why don't you come back again, see the sights?" And Shinichi's like, "Nah, I'm probably never going to." And she said, "No, say that you'll come back one day." And Shinichi smiles and like, "Okay, one day." Then before leaving, his dad takes him to that cliff where was his last moment with his wife. And then Shinichi's having flashbacks of Oda telling him, you should not tell your father about all of this. And Migi agreed with him because Shinichi's dad should not know any of this because he'll try to tell the world, and then the parasites will try to kill him. And Shinichi said, "Even though it's cowardly, I want to protect my father." Which is not cowardly. It's much better for his father too, and for the world as well, probably. I don't think they're ready for this. But then Shinichi's dad tells him, I want you to know, son, that your mother always loved you and still does love you. I don't think, he wants to come to terms with what happened. Obviously, can't blame him. So, and then Shinichi says, Dad, in your dream, of everything that happened, did mom suffer? Being killed, and the dad understands. He said, no, it was instant. It happened instantly, and that seems to give Shinichi the relief maybe he was looking for, and he's stand is giving a look, kind of sort of smiles, and then he falls and he's sleeping. Poor kid had a couple of rough weeks. Well, then that's it. We're back to where Shinichi lived. His friend, she's walking, and then she notices him, and I think the other girl from the train station also notices him, or that one. Also, she. Wait, before that, his friend notices him, and she says, I Oh yeah, it's like Izumi-kun, you're back, and he says, yo. And then we go back to that other girl. She broke up with. Okay, so one of those teenage boys was her boyfriend. He's like a big motherfucker, tall too. And he, sorry, I've been talking for a long time already. She broke up with him. He says, over that small pipsqueak, and she says he's not. She tells him he's not that small. You're just too big. So that's it. He's broke up with him. He's pissed off. He wants to drag his friends to go and beat up Shinichi again. And his friends are like, nah, listen, we had once was enough being beaten up by all those guys from that other high school. He gets pissed, and then he goes off on his own. He's waiting outside after school. Sees two of the other teenage boys and asks, where's Shinichi, face like a girl. And then Shinichi comes out, and his friends call him, and like, he's here to see you. And he's like, oh, okay. And the guy's looking at him. Is that the same guy? Because he looks so drastically different. I'll show you that too. Then Shinichi, what does he do? Oh yeah, that's it. They both go. They go back to that same place again. And Shinichi's joking like, what, do you live here or something? And then the guy confronts him and asks, I want to know, did you fuck my girlfriend? And Shinichi's like, what? I think he's saying that the girl's not pretty because he called her something. Yeah, I couldn't exactly understand what that was, but I got from it that he said she's not pretty. And he says, no, I haven't seen her in ages. I've been out of town for a couple of weeks. And if that was, if that's all, then this has nothing to do with me. And he starts to leave, and he's like, wait. And the guy's about to punch him. And Shinichi he now has these abilities. He's so tired of all of this. He's like, again? So he lets the guy hit him. Because he's like, wow, after fighting with the parasite, humans are so slow. Well, now that he has parasites. Or parasite powers, I should say. Abilities, sorry. So, Shinichi, he gets hit. He's like, oh, okay, that's it. But then the guy goes to hit him again. And Shinichi's like, he's gonna hit me in the head with his leg. What an asshole. With his foot. Shinichi grabs his foot, pushes him, backwards, and he falls. And he looks at him all terrified. He's like, what? And then Shinichi looks at him and says, and his friend comes around and he says, are you okay? And he tells her, yeah, everything's fine here. Don't forget your shoe. The guy's just laying there shocked. They start going, and his friend tells him, you've changed. You're not the same. Are are you even you anymore? Or who are you? And he says, I don't know. And she's standing there looking, and he turns around, trying to laugh it off and say, look, I was kidding. Come on, let's go. So then they're going. He's they're walking around. Then the other girl notices them. And she said, "Oh, I noticed him this time." She feels him. And then she sees he's with his friend. She's like, "Oh, he's with the other girl." And then his hand or Shinichi, not Shinichi, Migi notices her, and that is it. That is the end of Volume 2. Oh shit, my throat's killing me. So this is the cover. I do like that shade of blue, and that is a cool drawing of the hand. That's what Migi looks like when he's fighting. All right, so here we go. The art is always as good. There's Shinichi, and this is that guy I was talking about. There we go. The tall one here, and that's Shinichi's friend. This girl here. Just a second. There we go. You see the mom. You can tell the parasites because their faces, once they take over a human. Oh, sorry. They become blank because they're not human. They don't have all the expressions, all the feelings going through them. So they're these like blank faces on them each time. Okay, and then you see or not she, it kills Shinichi. But Migi saves him. Which I think in a way they are probably now connected, he and Migi, because he could have maybe tried to crawl towards a different body. You see, he's getting sugar and water, giving it to Shinichi, trying to sustain him. Look at Shinichi's face. But first, I must get revenge for my mother. Poor kid. You see, that's his chest now after Migi repaired it. And there's Oda, or the part of him there. Oh, there we go. There's Oda. And there's the Parasyte. And you see now Shinichi has the knife or the sword hand. Oops, sorry. Sword hand over there. 1 second. Yeah, and you see here Shinichi's like fighting it off in the same speed as the Parasyte. Because now he has that ability. And the Parasyte, like he isn't human. Well, no, not exactly anymore. Not completely. Now he's part. Then he gets stomped by the seeing the hand gets hit. But then this Parasyte kills this Parasyte instead. Saves him having to do that. And here, just you see how Shinichi looks different all of a sudden. I don't know if he went and got a haircut or something, but yeah, his hair is different. Not just hair, his demeanor, his eyes, everything's different. So that was issue. Oh, let me show you Migi. Wait, where's Migi? Migi. Where is he? 1 second. Oh, come on. Alright, you can kind of see him there. There he is. A little fella. So that was volume 2 of Parasyte. Man, a lot of changes. Shinichi sure changed a lot, man. It's so tragic that he lost his mom like that to the parasites. But I suppose something would have happened eventually since he has the parasite in him. And man, it just gets more and more interesting. What's gonna happen? Will there be more abilities that Shinichi is going to obtain? What's gonna happen now? Will he, will he be able to meet more, not able, but will he find more humans that a parasite is in them that didn't reach the head but got stuck in the body and another body part, and so they're kind of like, well, now they're in a symbiotic relationship. I didn't think he'd meet anyone else like him, but I guess it makes sense, right? Not all the parasites would be able to immediately get into the brain. Like, let's say if someone's awake and sees the parasite, he's gonna try to get it off of him, especially if someone's there to help. So I guess it stands to reason that there's probably more out there like Shinichi. Although I guess not exactly, since what happened to him now. So yeah, I wonder what's gonna happen. And if we're gonna see that teacher again. Because she had sex with that Parasyte A, and she was pregnant last time Shinichi saw her. So it'll be interesting to find out if she had that baby. Or what is she going to do with that baby? I mean, it was conceived by two parasites, but it's going to be human. What is she going to do with it? Is she going to kill it or experiment on it? Or put a parasite in it immediately? I don't know. I wonder if we'll learn throughout the series where the parasites came from, even. Because they come in these little fluffy balls, and that's it. It's not like they're from a spaceship. Interesting. But yeah, that's it for Volume 2. And I definitely need to get more of this series. I want to see what's going to happen to Shinichi. Will the world be saved from the parasites, or will things just get worse? We shall see. Alright, folks, so that is it. Let me know if you've read Parasyte. What did you, Volume 2. What did you think about it? And that is it. Remember, collect what you're passionate about and share it on YouTube. Bye!